changed my life. I changed my life. I changed my life. I changed my life. My life is purified. I'm a phoenix. Watch me fly. I changed my life. I changed my life.
Yeah, this is the Christopher Complex, man, coming at you again with another Phoenix Fly session. We're going to get that Phoenix to fly no matter how old or how young you are. Sometimes we are in that Phoenix stage that we getting ready to rise up. So let's rise up today. We're going to rise up, man. We're going to burn. We're going to get on fire. We're going to get that energy going. And I got some good energy for you right now. This is one of our first interview. And we're going to do more interviews like this. We are interviewing, and I don't like that word interview. We're going to have a conversation with the incredible Mr. Morris Hayes, musical director, master keyboard player of the MPG, musical director for Prince. This man has worked with the who's who, the best list, the list. He's worked with everybody: George Clinton, Elton John, Whitney Houston. He's worked with Lenny Kravitz, Amy Winehouse, Questlove, Mary J. Blige, Kanye West, Babyface, Carlos Santana, Kenny Loggins, Sheila E. Shaka Khan, Herbie Hancock, Macy Gray, The Edge, Bono. That pretty much just says I've worked with everybody. Also, he's done work with HBO, NAACP. He's in the Arkansas Black Hall of Fame. He was inducted in 2013. We're going to hear about that story. Also, there's another bonus. If you are a Prince fan, I'm a Prince fan, Purple fan out there, there is a bonus. This is a Morris Hayes conversation. We focused on Morris Hayes, but obviously, you're going to hear some nice, positive stories, positive lessons about Prince and how he taught his leadership. Normally, you're always going to hear those, what's your favorite color, Prince? Or, what are you trying to do? We're not doing that here. We're talking to Morris Hayes, but when we were talking, he dropped some nuggets, man, that Prince gave him. Oh my God, you just gonna freak out when you hear it, because I freaked out. I almost just lost it, man. And we're doing this because we want to also illuminate, people that deserve to shine. It's always the same authors going to the same people, and there's so many more people in our community of the world that just need to be illuminated. They need to be spotlighted. We need to know their story. We need to know their strategy. We need to know everything. And funny thing is, they're willing to give, and you guys should be willing to also give. And we're going to receive a lot today. It's going to be good. It's going to be fun, man. When you hear it, please share it. Please get the word out. This is what we're offering. Have some fun. Listen to the interview, conversation. Listen to the conversation. Hit me up. You can always hit me up at The Chris Complex on Twitter. Hit me up and just tell me what you think, and enjoy it. Enjoy it. Enjoy this Phoenix Fly session. Mr. Morris Hayes Christopher Complex talking to Mr. Morris Hayes. Mr. Morris Hayes, thank you one more time, brother. Thank you for all that you do.
Yeah, so thank you for doing this interview. Just really quickly, where it all comes from, it's just to provide value to the world, just anybody that needs it. I have a podcast. It's called the Christopher Complex Show. There's a subdivision of it called Phoenix Fly Sessions. I thought about a phoenix for obvious reasons, just crashing and burning down to the ground and just getting back up and making it happen. Like the scriptures say, righteous man will always get back up. So I wanted to find my way to provide value, encourage people, also document who I feel are people that we should nurture, cherish, not so much revere in like a godlike way, but just say, hey, this is somebody that we should look at, and not wait for other media to do so, and because I've noticed, you've probably seen it too, we'll complain why this person didn't get shine or didn't get light. So I just said, if I'm going to complain about it, I might as well do something about it. And I just said, you know what? Who do you think should be, and I hate to use these words, but probably one day I'll extend the vocabulary. Like, who should be in the spotlight? Who should be someone that I can tell my children, hey, if you want to do X, Y, Z, we should read about this person, not just the Martin Luther Kings, the Malcolm X's of the world, but who's current. As I told you before, Prince was a huge influence on my life, and as Van Jones said, I think we all just took advantage of it, and we just said, Prince is always here, he's got it, and when that happened, I was just like, you know what, God, you're right, I got to get up, I got to do something. So I love to inspire, I love to influence, and find a way that it's all relatable to common folk, regular people, stars, celebrities, whoever, from 0 to 100, whatever scale you on. Keep it honest, unfiltered, and that is basically my intention. Sometimes I like to know how people did some things, why they did some things, but in my heart of hearts, ever since I was a child, I think I've always been the one to give advice, and sometimes I didn't take my own. But who hasn't done that? And I just said, okay, start your podcast. Don't think about it. Just keep going. See where you can go. And usually podcasts or books are always about the billionaire that made it or the millionaire that made it. And I just said, you know what? If you're going to go up, why don't you bring everybody up at the same time, or at least who the spirit says you can reach. So the first person that came to mind, honestly, Morris Hayes. And that's why I just used the tools that we had, LinkedIn, and I just said, okay, God said a prayer, and then I sent you that message, and you said, okay. So here we are. So
cool. For
the audience, just in case if you don't know who Morris Hayes is, which you got to be crazy, and I'll let you, speak too, but from what I've researched, besides being Prince's music director, I'm quite sure his brother, and other terms of endearment that you guys had over the years, you're in the Hall of Fame in Arkansas, the Black Hall of Fame. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, that's correct. I was inducted in 2013 into the Arkansas Black Hall of Fame, and that was a real honor, man. It was very cool because it really came out of the blue. I wasn't expecting anything like that, and really, man, I'm in the company of some really incredible people. Maya Angelou, just a plethora of folks, man. That is like Neo, Smokey Norfolk. The young blood that I worked with some years ago. Worked with Smokey when he was like 12, and just some people that I knew and some that I didn't. Pro football players. Yeah. One of the ladies that was involved with it, she was one of the inspirations behind Hidden Figures. She was inducted the same year as me, and so that was incredible. It's very cool.
Do all of the inductees are residents or were born in Arkansas?
The thing is they were all born in Arkansas. That's the criteria for being an Arkansas Hall of Fame. And Bill Clinton was an honorary inductee in it. So and it's cool. The governor has a thing at the governor's mansion, and you go and do this thing. And I took my mom to it. So man, I've done things like that, but it was really cool to see her be a part of something like that. So it was really well done, man. It was really cool.
Wow. I didn't know that Maya was from Arkansas. That's really, really cool.
She's from a place called Stamps.
Stamps?
Stamps, Arkansas.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we all know how she affected our lives. So there must be something in the water over there. I got to get to Arkansas because there's really cool people coming out of there. And that was the reason for this whole entire podcast, is because I just got enlightened. And I just think if anybody else can get enlightened, that's really what it is. And just to go on, it just seems like, you have the who's who that you play with: Carlos Santana, Babyface, Amy Winehouse, Erykah Badu, of course, Prince, Kenny Loggins. So it's not a genre of music that you really haven't touched. So I just want the people, the audience, to know, what you're about. Look Morris Hayes up do some more research. Hey, do some research on Arkansas as well. But just to get into the interview a little bit more, again, as I told you before, I really wanted to interview you and see how we can help some people get some insight on certain things. So I just have a couple of questions, and I'd rather just it be a conversation as opposed to just question, answer. So we'll figure out how to get that to happen. But in my life, I noticed that I have a certain thread or a theme. And what I mean by thread or theme, I think I was reading how your career started with keyboard, that there was an opening, maybe somebody wasn't there, and you took the opportunity to, take advantage of it, and it just led to something else. Is there a connecting thread or theme that always seems to happen, even still to this day, that resonates in your life, and how do you, work with that, and how do you deal with that? And the reason for that question is to maybe help people see that reoccurring thread in their lives so that they can say, okay, this is an aha moment, if you understand the question.
Sure. I mean, I think it's the hero's journey. I think a lot of things, it's the old hero's journey. Basically, you have this situation where there's certain things placed before you, and you have a fork in the road, and you have some decisions to make, and it's like the opportunity presents itself. You're afraid, but then you take it on, and then the journey begins. What it was, playing in college, there was myself and another brother named Shelby Henry, great keyboard player, one of my inspirations. And, at the time, he was a bad dude, and I was just a kid that just happened to have some equipment. But he had to kind of drop out to really focus on study. And we were playing actually for Bill Clinton's, he was trying to be elected as the governor, playing a function, and I was thrust into hey, Buck is not.
Right.
And if you don't know the songs, you're going to be looking stupid. So I had to really woodshed to actually learn it, because he was really pulling the weight, and I was just kind of looking cool, trying to, be cool, and Buck was doing all the work. And I really had to kind of learn the songs with woodshed and get it. And, once we pulled it off, it wasn't perfect, but it was I was I could do this, It just turned into it turned from want to look cool to actually want to do the work and want to actually play and sound better and be better. So that was the aha moment when it's okay, we pulled it off, and I could actually do this. This can be real. And so that's when it kind of kicked in, and the interest started.
Right. So in some sense of it, it was serendipitous, and it was kind of thrown in the wolf's den, or thrown in the fire.
Yeah, correct.
Was it like that with Prince as well? Or I know you were doing Carmen Electra. Was it like that too, or that was?
Well, it was more. That was just one of those things where it's once you kind of you get an opportunity. Our band was doing some things there, and Prince noticed us, and we were the house band for the Glam Slam for his club. And so once he decided to go on the Diamonds and Pearls tour, he decided he wanted the whole band to basically play for Carmen to open up for him. And so he just got my whole band and just kind of brought us over, and then we just worked out the music for Carmen, and then we went on that tour. So that was kind of the whole thing, and he just fortunately for us, he just took my whole band, and that was cool. We were already kind of tight together, and so that was really cool, and we just were very happy to have that opportunity to go out on a major tour like that. I mean, it was a big record for him with the MPG, and so it was our first foray into when things are on that level. So, we were obviously very happy about it.
Right. So in that separate serendipitous moment, you just said that, okay, if I just do the work. So I did a podcast on, a lot of times we worry about things. And I think the old man upstairs, hit me with something, and he says, if you would work, if you would produce in abundance, you would have to worry so much. What made you embrace work? Because a lot of people can't stand that word, but what made you just embrace work? Was there immediate reward, or what was it for you?
Well, I mean, for us, man, I mean, we were making at that time $700 a week to rehearse, which was incredible. I worked when I was in bar bands. If I made $600 a week, like gigging, that was a good week back in the 80s. You know what I mean? That was a good week for musicians. I mean, I was like, and we made that. Prince was paying us that for just rehearsal, so that was like banana sandwiches. I'm like, are you kidding? This is like heaven. Just all day. Yeah. And it was like, because we were getting paid to do music, man. And so for me, that was like, that's good enough for me, bro. I'm there. Like, they had to peel me off the room, and so many other cats too, because a lot of cats were really struggling on the game, trying to, get in, and we were like getting paid to rehearse like that. And so that was a no-brainer for us, man. And we were happy to do it, man, and to be able to work like that, man. It was like amazing. So I call it work for lack of a better term, because that's it. Playing music, we do this for free, but when you get money, it's all the more better, of course. But it was great, man. And I think we knew that was just a preamble to like really working at the level that we wanted to work at. We get a chance to open up for a major artist. We get a chance to like be on a big stage. We get a chance to like really spread out and do the things that we always talked about doing, So now was our chance. And so we weren't going to blow the chance. We were like, man, we got the opportunity we've been dreaming about. So we got to deliver now. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, just to bring two things together. So, I know you said the word woodshedding, which is a word that musicians usually use and, close the door. We just gonna grind this thing out until we get really good. And I just wanted to point that out because woodshedding could be anything. It could be how you do your business. It could be how you exercise. It could be how you play your guitar or your keyboard. But, the other fascinating thing that you spoke about, I do have a music side of me too. But the fascinating thing that you just talked about was how the fact that he brought the whole band together, so you guys are already together as one. How were you able to keep that unit going, the camaraderie? Who was the leader in doing that? Were you the leader in making sure that the band would stay together, and what kind of leadership?
Well, I was the music director.
Did you have?
Yeah, I was a music director, and my band was kind of unique because we had a lead singer who was the leader of the band, a guy named Greg Sane. They call him G Sharp. He was the leader of the band, but I was the music director. So I got the music together. He was like the fearless leader. And one thing that I think that both of he and I, we'd been in bands before we got to that band, and one of the things that I think as a great band leader, and I think as a great person, that you have to be a dreamer. You have to be somebody that can sell the dream, that can tell somebody the dream, and then you have to sell it. Kind of like a
salesman also.
Well, because you have to make for people who don't really understand what's required. If you want to because everybody says, yeah, man, we're going to take it to the top. A lot of people say that, but they don't really know what it's involved in actually doing that. And you have to be able to articulate to somebody this. If you want to operate at the top, then you have to change your mental trajectory has to be different, because you have to look at things from a different kind of perspective. We didn't want to beat up on when I lived in Memphis, I lived in Austin, Texas, and there was a lot of hot bands in each one of those towns. There's hot bands in every city. It was never our intention to beat up the best band in Memphis and the best band in Austin. We wanted to whoop Prince. We wanted to whoop Michael Jackson. That's who we would set our sights on. We wasn't trying to beat up Trick Tracks or the Squares. And people go like, who is Trick Track? Who is the Squares? And I'll go, exactly. So it's like
yeah.
exactly. So we don't. We don't want to whoop them. That's not anything else. We want to beat up on the artists of the day, which was Club Nouveau, Star Point, the people that we went on tour with. We wanted to whoop them every day, being the opening act. You know, one of the reasons why we even linked up with Prince is that their crew saw the band Fingerprint that I work with, and they were like, man, you guys play our songs like us. We see bands play our music all the time, and they butcher it. You guys play it like us, like the record. That was one of the biggest compliments they could pay to us, is that you sound like the record. You know, because we studied the parts. We wanted to, if we're going to do it, we wanted to be the best at it. And I think that's what anybody that's talking about operating in that frequency, we knew that we couldn't just, you know, we did cover bands so we could pay the bills, so that we could work on our original material. You know, some people are happy, and brother, but don't get it twisted. For anybody that's doing anything that they want to do, I am not mad at you. If you like it, I love it. So I don't beleaguer anybody that's like, decide that I want to be a cover band or I want to do this. Do you. We just had aspirations to be a national recording act. We knew that that playing covers played the bills, but we always were trying to get in a lab and work on our own music. It was unsuccessful in that area, but that's what the dream was. And so, but I think in order to have people to follow you, you have to be able to just show them like get them on the hill like Moses and show them over into the promised land. You got to say, if we work hard, if we do this, man, we're going to be on the other side of the issue. You can see it. You can feel it. You can taste it. You know, you have to be able to express that and make them honestly believe that, because you have to believe it. You can't, any great salesman, you have to believe in the product that you're selling. And what we're selling is like, look, this is a dream. We want to operate at the high. We know it can be done. We've seen it. We've known people who've done it. And if we're this good, then it's ascertainable for us as well. So we know that it's not a fantasy. It can be done. And so all we have to do is focus. And if we act like a fist and we all get together, then we can all make it, and we can all buoy each other to the top of the situation. And that's what's the big thing for us, is like I'm able to explain this, especially in retrospect, when you talk about successes that I've had doing it. It's very easy for me to talk to somebody, because I'm not talking about something that I heard about. I'm talking about something that I know. I'm a kid from Arkansas that had no musical training, no connections, no nothing other than a dream and a desire to do it. So I'm not, that's not coming from any other place other than, man, I did it. And if I can do it, anybody can do it. That's the long and the short of it.
Yeah, and that's what this is all about. I mean, I'll be honest, and I'll strip myself down. We had a band, and I get you, so looking at what you just said in sense of like mentor-mentee type of thing, because I want people to understand that you could have moments of mentorship. You don't need to have them permanently around you, but you never know when these golden nuggets just drop out of the sky, and you gotta take it. But I remember, and I used to always ask myself, okay, if I had this dope band, what the hell happened to the keyboard player? This guy got it. The drummer got it. The guitarist got it. The keyboard player, he didn't get it. Was it something that I did? And just that little instance of what you just said kicks back and it says, oh, okay, maybe I did not sell it to him the right way. Maybe he didn't see it, because, everybody's like, you guys got something going on. I mean, even his dad was like, I sent my son to school, and I've heard him play with a lot of people. But this right here, I think he should stay with it. He didn't. He moved on, but, you're always sitting there saying, as someone learning or trying to get to that level, what the heck happened? And you just answer that question. It's wonderful how the spirit just moves like that, and how you just was able to show your leadership. And I love your last statement. It's not something that I'm not talking about doing. I've already done it, and I can see through your leadership of why you were able to have so many people to play for. And I guess the leading question is that also the reason why maybe you were the longest running musician with Prince? Is that also maybe tied to it, or not?
That's a question that I'll never probably have answered. because I never asked Prince directly why that was the case. It was a rare thing. You know what, man? It could be for a variety of reasons. I know one thing that I always wanted to do is not to ever be the cause of the problem. I never wanted to be whatever is going to hold up the program. So that means I need to be where I need to be when I need to be there as much as I can be prepared as much as I need to be prepared. Because Prince is a cat that's a perfectionist. He's a taskmaster, and he has no patience for anything that's not moving forward. So then, you know, I remember one day we went at the very early part of my career with him. You know, I was kind of in that honeymoon phase where, you know, he just wowing me, like showing me all this crazy stuff he can do. You know, he's playing a guitar and a keyboard at the same time, harmonizing solo. And I'm just looking at it like, dude, this is crazy, man. Like, Prince, just come on, man. I can't do nothing like this, man. This is impossible. And real quietly, brother, just like real quietly, that scary, quiet thing that he would do is like, yeah, because, you know, if somebody irate or whatever, it's like one thing. But, you know, if you got that Godfather quiet, like, you know, Tony, I'm just going to tell you, like, make him an offer you can't refuse. It was like, he said, Morris, if you want to stay here, I don't do impossible. I don't really relate to no, and I can't do. He says I don't really function under that premise. You have to change your mental trajectory if you want to stay here. You don't have to, but if you want to stay here, then I don't accept impossible. So you know you can say that, but you won't be here very long. And I know I didn't want to have to get sent home. So my thing is, he said, we just figure out how to win, brother. So whatever you need to do, hieroglyphics, whatever you need to do to remember, because I can't wait for you. I want to be able to do my show, and I can't wait on you get your show. Then I can't do my show because I got to make sure you got your show. So I don't want to have to repeat myself, and we have to, you know, go. So we got to keep up. Whatever way you need to do to figure it out. And so, brother, I just turned up the gas because I know I don't want to go home. I want to keep working. I know I was up against the challenge because these dudes was like Superman, and I'm just still Clark Kent. So I said, I got to come up, and I got to come up quick. So that means whatever you need to do,
I love it.
Turn it on.
Yeah, I love it because I had the podcast was about capacity and expanding who you are. So, you know, I know you've heard this statement 1,000 times. People like to say, oh, I don't have time for that. And one day it just hit me, and I said, that is one of the worst things people can say, because we do have time, not necessarily the word time, but we have the capacity. And Prince is telling you, I need you to turn it up, and you're saying, I'm going to floor it. I'm just going to floor it, and I'm just going to drive the hell out of this car and keep up with this dude. And I was telling somebody that was going through something, and I just said, you just need to expand your capacity, and you need to expand your capacity first with your mind frame. You need to stop saying to yourself that you only have a limited amount. If we look at this world that we have out here, the universe is overabundant, so why wouldn't we have the capacity to do that and for you to just kind of like...
Think of it like this. There's no hard drive capacity that can come close to the human brain. There's nothing that can even come close to it. It's an incredible piece of machinery is the human brain.
Right.
It's one of the final frontiers. We're not operating, but at a fraction of its capacity. So a lot of things that we run into is all self-inflicted because we say we can. I can't front. I suffer from some of the same things. I suffer from doubt sometimes and this, that, and the other. But you have to get to a point where you can't allow that sort of thing to cripple you, because it will. If you allow yourself to be paralyzed by fear of failure, and those type of things, then guess what? You will. It's healthy to fail, brother. Sometimes you got to get pounded in order to say, I ain't gonna let that happen to me again. I'm gonna get in the gym. Or I'm gonna get on this. You know, if I got just ate up. I had a good buddy of mine in college named Skip Pruitt. In university, man, I was sorry on some keyboards. Couldn't play my way out with people say. Skip was like already dope. He came to college dope. Like, what you gonna learn while you here, bro? Like, what are you coming here for? Because you already straight. And I asked him one day, I said, Skip, man, how did you get so crazy like this, man? And he said, well, you know, man, this is Morris, my dad would take me to the club when I was a kid. and them old dudes would run me over, man, just tear me up and spit me out. And he said, I just got tired of getting whooped, and I just started working on my chops, man, and just getting myself to where them dudes just couldn't keep whooping on me, man. And he just said, I just got a thicker skin, and I just started just increasing my skill sets. So, yeah, he got beat up. He got whooped, but he just kept coming back, man. He just kept fighting like Cool Hand Luke. And then he earned the respect of those cats. And then once he earned their respect, then they would teach. And it's like, so a lot of times, man, you just have to, but people want to see that you're going to be tried by fire and that you're going to come out because you got that kind of drive. And I think when anybody see you trying to get your hustle, man, they're going to step up and they're going to help you out. That's what happened to me, man. When I went to fellowship, this church in Chicago, man, I was playing at church and I happened to run into the pastor of the church in Tennessee. I was in 1979, and I'm just there, and my aunt was going to his church, and I just walked up on him. I mean, he got security and all kind of stuff, and I just was like, hey, Reverend Evans, my aunt go to your church in Chicago, and one day I'm going to come join your church. And he's like, all right, son, well, you come on. You come to Chicago, you come on. And a few years later, there, and they called up people who wanted to join the church. I went and sat down on the bench, and he remembered me. He said, okay, this is the young man I met in Tennessee. Pointing me out, had me stand up, and he said, I met this young man in Tennessee, and he told me he was going to come to my church, and there he is. And he turned around to the choir and said, I want y'all to take him. Music staff, take him in. He's going to be in with the music staff. And that was like the Justice League. Them dudes was off the chain. They had the best players in Chicago. And so I then got the chance to work with the best gospel musicians in the city. And they took me in and they worked with me, man. And that really started my foray into like doing, what I'm doing because I was surrounded by some cats that was like each one of them was just dope, in their own right. And just, everybody in town in Chicago knew those musicians because Reverend had the best ones around town. So it just was like, that was, and it's been that way ever since. I like being the low cat on the totem pole because it just makes you get your hustle, man. You got to keep up. So you're going to start running with the big dogs. So then guess what? You start increasing your speed and increasing your duration and what you can do. And so I think that's a good thing because it causes you to challenge yourself and push yourself. Especially if you don't like failure. If you don't like getting whooped, then you're going to do something about it. When you get to the pros, man, nobody got to tell you every day to go lift weights. You go lift weight because the other team's going to come ready to go on Sunday. They ready to get it. If you're not, you're going to get run over, period. So coach shouldn't be telling you, all right, Morris, you better get on in the gym, work that out, man. Come on, get that stomach down, man. Get the muscles, man. Nobody got to tell you. When you get when you start getting to that level, you doing it because you ain't trying to get tore up. You're not trying to look bad. You're not trying to sound bad. None of that. So you're going to come in with your A game. You're going to study the tape on your own time. You're going to get your riffs in on your own time. So that when you get on stage or when you get on the field, you bring in your A game. Because anybody else that's at that level, that's what they're going to do.
So I would see you as a master. So when was the last time Master Morris Hayes learned something new?
Man, every time I get on the stage, when you play with great players, man, there's an opportunity. Like for instance, man, the last show we did in Veszprém, which is right outside of Budapest, about a week and a half ago, we did a new song that we just put in the last show because they wanted us to play for over 2 hours. And so we just threw everything but the kitchen sink in the situation. We said, okay, let's pull the stuff even from the little club set. We're going to throw it in the set. And we did Deuce and a Quarter. And
nice.
We just pulled that out and just killed it, like right off the top. Just smashed it. At the end, we hadn't really worked out how it was going to end. But we did da-da-da-da. And it's just like, and then all of a sudden, Mike just started playing a riff by himself. And we are like, oh, that's not normally where it goes there. But everybody just like stay in the saddle. Just let's see how this rolls out. He played the riff. Everybody kicked in instinctually, knew, okay, we're going to do Vegas on this. Vegas meaning big end like, da, Yep. So we just let him play his riff. And then Kirk set it up. Bang! Everybody dropped down on the downbeat, just like we planned it that way. You just learn to just like, okay, just trust your instincts. Everybody be cool, stay in the pocket, and just see what happens. Let it unfold, because he can play. If you got confidence in your players, then you know that this dude can handle it. Just let him go. He ain't going to fudge it. He going to hit it, and that's what he did. And then all we got to do is just be cool. Keep eye contact. Look at your next cat. Follow the leader. Bam. The drummer's driving. So then put it on him. And then bam. There we go. And it's in there. And it was like cake. Like that's where it was supposed to be.
Wow. Wow. Yeah. You know, funny, I was reading something about you, and you said Prince, one of the lessons he told you was if you make a mistake, just keep playing it.
It's not a mistake unless you stop. Absolutely.
Right.
It's not a mistake unless you stop. To this day.
Wow.
And it's difficult because that's the instinct. It's like when you're in a slide, when you're like driving in the snow. When you start sliding towards something, your instinct is to turn away from the slide. But that's actually going to get you in more trouble. You have to turn into the slide in order to get control of the car. So I know it's counterintuitive to your mind, but it's like when you turn your wheels all the way sideways, you don't have any traction anymore. You're just running on the balls of the thin part of the tire. So you're obviously just gonna keep going straight. You have no control at that point. So it's counterintuitive because you just want to turn away, because if a bowling ball's coming, you want to run the other direction so you can get away from it. So it's the same thing in music. When somebody messes up, the instinct is like to look to see who did it, or look at your own instrument to see what happened.
Yeah.
And so that's the instinct. It's like, my keyboard just quit. Now you're looking around trying to figure out what's going on. And that's the cue to somebody like, oh, look, the keyboard player's in trouble. His stuff is jacked up. And I remember one time my keyboard just it melted down and just made a weird, crazy sound. And Prince threw a towel at me. And after the show was over, he was like, dude, what happened? I said, Prince, it's an old keyboard. It just died. I said, and it just went crazy. He said, Morris, if it does that again, throw it on the ground. I'll get you a new one. Make a show out of it. When you look at it like what's going on, everybody in the crowd now is like, oh, look, the keyboard player's got a problem. He said, at least throw it on the ground and smash it. Now it's rock and roll. It's a show now.
Wow.
I'll get you a new one.
Wow.
But don't stand there like a deer in the headlights.
Wow. And that can be taken to any kind of thing you do in life. Wow.
Anything.
That is
it's
awesome.
like, let's make a show out of it, bro. Now it's a moment. Now it's something cool because everybody's like, wow, that dude just threw it on the ground and smashed it. He said, I'll get you a new one. But don't look like you're a deer in the headlights and you're just standing there looking crazy. Now it just looks like a big mistake.
Wow.
It's like a classic rock and roll moment.
I'm assuming you're a spiritual person, because music is spiritual. I don't care what anybody says, but I actually think it's God's language. But
yeah,
I know it's God's to this day.
Because people's like, man, why you choose this? I'm like, I didn't. It chose me, bro. I was like, it's a gift. I could just hear it. I didn't know why. It's just like, when you're a kid and you don't really know that you're Superman yet. It's like you got powers, but you ain't realized it because you haven't tested them. So it's like, here comes a test. And so I could hear stuff, and I didn't know why I liked it, and why I heard where certain things gravitated to me. I don't understand that. But I came to understand why. It's because, I have this gift. I can hear things.
Wow.
I'm going to step in. I hear a train, so I'm going to step in for a second.
No, keep the train. This is going to sound really weird, but trains mean, I can't explain it, but it's a spiritual thing. Leave the train. Leave it. And there's a podcast that I have that says, do it in the noise. If there's noise around you, it's got to get done. Just go ahead. Because sometimes, like you just said, we would stop and we would say to ourselves, this has happened. No, let the train go. That train is telling me that I'm on it. You can talk about it anytime you want, but that train is telling me we on it. My family's from Selma, Alabama.
Okay.
And our house is something about that blues, those trains, that gospel, that stuff got in my system, and it's not going anywhere. I understand them trains. Leave it. It's fine. I was going to ask you a question. I know, the brother has moved on, but is he still teaching you to this day
when you go on stage, or you still have, hear those new lessons. And I'm just talking about ancestry. There's an artist you probably heard of called Charlie Lucas, and he's helping it with his art. And he's talking about ancestry, and if you continue to talk to your ancestors that passed on, they will always show up. Have any of those experiences?
I think what it is for me, man, is like it's kind of like look at it like Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs, had conversations with the people that's there now about the future, about, okay, this is what's going to happen here. This is what, because he had that kind of foresight. He was a genius in what he did. And so he was already thinking in the future. He was already ahead of the curve. So he could just really lay that kind of information on you. This is what you need to be thinking about at this point, and this is what you need to be thinking about at this point. And I think Prince was the same way. He just future-proofed us with a lot of information that is going to be like, this is stuff you need to know, because everything is, there's nothing new under the sun. It's just going to be different time, different space. And so a lot of that stuff he just, compressed into us, man. And I just, as the situations come up, you go, oh, that's lesson number 522. And then we apply that to the situation. That he said that was going to happen. He used to tell me all the time, Morris, did you ever have your own band? I said, yeah. He said, well, you'll see. When you do this right here is going to happen, and you'll see what I'm talking about. And sure enough, when it came down to it, I've had to go like, man, bro, you knew what you was talking about. This is scenario number 622. And so it's like, yep, there it is. He called it. And so, yeah, you hear yourself and you see yourself like, coming up in those situations where it's like, wow, he told me this was going to come down, and so be it. And so and I'm sure that's going to continue, because out of 20 years, man, there was a lot of conversation, a lot of plane rides, a lot of, jet rides and limo rides and bike rides and all kinds of rides where we're just talking about stuff and this, that, and the other, and just, so that is going to be the case, you know what I mean? So yeah, man, that's how that goes.
Let's talk about something fun, music. I'm gonna just say it as a fan of yours. Hallucination Rain. What the heck was y'all thinking about? That joint was awesome.
Yeah, that was kind of cool, especially for me, because he just kind of let me drive on that one. He just kind of gave me some leeway and just kind of left the studio and said, hey, I got this violinist coming in, and he just said, you just work with him, Morris, and just have him do his thing and just add some sounds and do what you want to do. And he just kind of let me just get in, and just brought the violinist in, and he just said, just run him through some effects, and we just wanted it real trippy. Really cool, and man, it was a lot of fun for me, because I just got a chance to mess with some sounds in my keyboards that I wanted to mess with, and some just all kinds of stuff. And it was just fun,
When I heard that record, man, and that Hallucination Rain drop, I have an uncle. He's like a serious jazz head, and I had to put Prince on him, and he finally got what Prince was talking about. And then when he got that album, man, he called me up and he was like, let me just tell you something. I said, don't even say it, man. You talking about Hallucination Rain, right? He was like, how did you know? I said, that thing is somewhere out of this world, and it's straight funky. I don't know what
it's crazy too. About. It's crazy too, because there's a long version where everybody kind of got solos. I mean, the one that ended up on the record is it's an edited version. And it's like the organ solo, and then the Fender Rhodes solo, and the guitar solo. I mean, it's dope, man. So when we're actually gonna start playing it in the set, man, and so we're gonna stretch out, especially in the club set, where we can just kind of groove and jam. Everybody just gets their piece in. So Hallucination Rain gonna be one of them. It's gonna be one everybody get. It's just gonna groove for about 30 minutes. Everybody gonna get their piece in, sound on it.
It's like that funkadelic type of thing, man, where you could just sit there on one groove.
10 minutes. At the short end, 10, 15 minutes, and that joker just be clocking. And everybody just, let Tommy stretch out, or get the organ solo or the guitar solo, but just take your time, boy. We're gonna sit a spell, but just take your time, and that's what we're gonna do with it, and just and if we got any guests like violinists or anybody like that, we let them get their piece in like they did on the record.
It's just to take from there. The last time I saw you
was Madison Square Garden, Welcome to America. And I didn't even know you were there until I saw that you were in the back, and I was like, okay, the man is here, Prince is here, everything's going to be cool. And we saw John walk out the back door. And I told my drummer, man, I said, look, if you never seen Prince in MPG, you're going to walk out of here and you ain't going to know where to find your keys for your car. I'm just telling you. This dude saw a lot of people, and when he walked out that night, man, I think we saw the second night or something like that. It was the night when P threw Kim off the stage.
Oh, yeah, that night, yeah.
Yeah, and man,
he walked out, and he was just like, I can't go home.
It was crazy. It was a lot. I mean, the Madison Square Garden shows was crazy. I remember running into Donald Trump back there, backstage, and Whoopi, and a lot of people, man. And Kim, I actually talked to Kim that night. She was like telling me how embarrassed she was, and she just kind of like she was telling me she was very shy, and I'm like, you shy? Okay.
Really? Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was quite hilarious. But she's like, yeah, I just kind of was really shy. I guess kind of, like froze up. And I'm like, okay. You shy? Okay, if you say so. It ain't the way
somebody
I but okay.
As somebody that doesn't know anything.
Cool.
Yeah, somebody that doesn't know anything. I just thought Prince was, being a man, sizing it up. I'm just like, all right, I would have did the same thing too. But
man. But he likes to have fun with that, especially with the Paris Hilton and Kim Kardashian types, because they're kind of famous for not a whole lot, you know what I'm saying, in terms of, especially like, Paris had a record and that sort of thing, and I think Kim had a record, and it's just like, look, I mean, come on, just, But so I think a lot of times he would just like, okay, you want to be a singer, here's your chance. If you want to perform, here's your chance. And then smack, they just kind of like fall down. And it's like, oh, but I thought you were a singer. I thought you were an entertainer. So, but then they are exposed. And so it's kind of like crazy. But it was all in good fun. I mean, Kim Kardashian she was cool. And, Prince, I don't think it was anything meant to be any harsh thing or anything like that, but because he just liked to have fun like that. But
I don't think anybody took it like that.
Yeah, no, and so it's just all in good fun, and he just we had other shows where we just called people and same kind of thing. But I know when he called Halle Berry stepped on the gas. She like, I'm gonna bring it, and she brought it, son. So Halle didn't go out.
Wow.
She brought it, so I mean, it was like, okay, that's what we talking about right there. I give you the time to get you the piece in, get your piece in. So she got her piece in, man. It was cool.
Man, yeah, because when you guys go, I can't wait till y'all guys come to New York. When you guys go, man, it's just like, whew. But I wanted to just ask you this, and we can wrap this thing up. I know you got things to do, but and speaking about music. What influenced you? Like, I remember my uncle, he pulled me to the side. Music started for me in the church, probably the same for you. But I remember I was in Selma, Alabama, and my uncle says to me, come in my room. And he dropped the needle on Lady Cab Driver, and I was done forever.
Yeah.
That was one. I mean, Pete Phones was definitely another one. What was the influences for you?
Well, man, oddly enough, man, I the town I'm in right now is where I grew up. It's a little town called Jefferson, Arkansas, man. And I'm not, it's kind of out in the country, man, out in the woods. I mean, I'm sitting outside now so I can get a phone signal, man, because AT&T apparently don't like it over here. So it's like, I'm out in the wilderness, man. And so the AM station kind of came in kind of, scratchy. The station that sounded great actually was the FM station that was the rock and roll station. So I just couldn't stand listening to music like scratchy. So I started listening to the FM station, man, and so I have a really lot of rock influence, man, because I used to listen to like, Steely Dan and like the Eagles and
Yeah.
all of that stuff, man. Like oh my God, man, it's like Led Zeppelin and like a lot of different stuff because I was listening to the rock and roll station, but they would play like crossover stuff like Earth, Wind and Fire and different things that Stevie that would cross and so I just try to have a balance, but I just used to like hearing things sonically right. And because I was listening to headphones, man, I just like, how does this mix? I didn't understand the terminology, but I just knew that stuff sounded different. And it was spacious and stereo, and I just said, this is the way to listen to music. And so I liked that, Supertramp, all of the different groups, because they had different eclectic singers and Fender Rhodes and different things, and I wanted to know the instrumentation. But as far as the musicians that influenced me, man, I love Ray Charles, man. I love Stevie Wonder. And, Herbie Hancock was always a favorite because he was just so diverse because he could do this whole straight ahead jazz thing, but then he had this fusion thing. He just was so, his spectrum was just wide, man. His vocabulary was wide. And I just respected that, man. Chick Corea and a lot of the great keyboardists, man. George Duke, Patrice Rushen especially, man. Patrice is a good friend now. And I remember in 1979 just watching her on Soul Train and just saying out loud, I want that keyboard. And the lady was sitting in the house with her, was a friend of my mom. She was a good traveling gospel singer. And she said, that thing, I got one of them. I don't like it. She said, it sounds like it's not like a piano, like a real piano. She said, I don't like it. So you can have it. We owe $600 on a 88 Fender Rhodes. And I'm like, $600? I told my dad, like, man, she got one for $600. She said, we can just take it. It's like brand new. And that was like a few grand for that thing back then. And I was like, well, he's like, either you get a car or you get the keyboard. I'm like, I get the keyboard, man. And I had a Fender Rhodes, man, 88. And I was big as a New York Minute. I was lugging that thing around, man, just one little brother. You should have saw me struggling with that thing, man. But I got it. And it's because, Patrice Rushen, I saw her doing this whole thing on Soul Train. And every time I see her, I just wear her out. I was like, Patrice, you're the reason why I got a Fender Rhodes. You know that, right? And she just laughs. But it's cool because that was, it was just like energy, man. I'm all about like the universal law of attraction and energy, man. I grew up in the church, man. I believe God has made this universe and everything in it. And I think the universe has laws. I think there's things about it. I think you get what you put out is what you get, what you attract. So that's why when I try to open my mouth up, man, I want positive stuff coming out of it because I want to attract positive things. I don't talk about a whole lot of what I don't want. I talk about what I do want. So, and I think that's the thing that stymies a lot of people. I don't want to be poor. I don't want to be unsuccessful. Then, one of the best stories, and we can wrap it, but one of the best stories for me, man, and kind of understanding that concept was Mother Teresa. She said, there were some people who were asking her about coming to this anti-war rally, and they were like, we're trying to get you to be in our anti-war rally. And she told them, she said, I tell you what, I can't do your anti-war rally, but if you ever do a peace rally, call me and I'll come for that.
Wow, that's awesome. Yeah, and that's what this whole podcast is about. And, I just want to see what your thoughts are on this one thing I've been theorizing about, this last thing about music. Little Richard, James Brown, George Clinton, Prince, blank. Is there something in that's red?
George, I'm sorry. Say that again.
Little Richard, James Brown, George Clinton, Prince, blank. Is there something? I just thought that there was a connection to all that. It seems like I know there's people that are in between or on the sidelines or just at the same time with those people, but it seems like, correct me if I'm wrong, because, you have a little bit more you have more experience than I do, but it seems like there was something, there's a gentleman, I think his name is Billy, I forgot his last name, but Little Richard got it a little bit from that guy. James got a little bit from Little Richard. George got from James. And it seems like Prince.
My theory about that, brother, is I called it the triangle of funk. And I think that was the genesis in the triangle. And here's how I set up the triangle. At the top of this triangle, I put James Brown. It's like James, and then there's Sly Stone, on the West Coast. And then there's Parliament. there was like this, and Parliament had a lot of offshoot. You know, you're talking like Bootsy, and you're talking like Fred Wesley and Maceo, and they came out of they came out of that whole thing, and so that set up, and then kind of everything else. Those were the major cats, and I mean there were other smaller cats that were like in that neighborhood, in that neck of the woods with the funk. Because of course you got Otis Redding and all of them cats. They were soul singers, and they had a very soulful thing. But James was a soul singer that took that funk edge, and then you got Sly, who came from the church. Then you got Larry Graham. All of them just kind of like spin off of that whole situation, and then all the other under type of things that came out of Parliament Funkadelic, and Bootsy and all the other different offshoots of that. Junie Morrison would end up doing that, and then Ohio Players and all this kind of stuff. I mean, that was like this whole pyramid, what I call a pyramid of funk. And so, and I think there was a lot of influences. Like Prince to me was just like, he was James, he was Little Richard, he was Jimi Hendrix, he was like Elvis. Like a lot of different of those things. He just took a bit of all of that and kind of made his own hybrid sound and situation out of taking moves and taking looks and taking vibes from all Carlos Santana. It was like a lot of that stuff. He told me, like, man, when I saw Carlos put that boot on that wah-wah, I knew that was the job for me. That was like, that was funky. He said, I saw Carlos put that boot on that wah-wah, and I said, yeah, this is the light for me.
Wow.
So that was what his thing was. And I think D'Angelo is like Marvin and Prince and all of these things rolled up. I think that's what happens over the time. You got Bilal, and you got, all these cats that's coming up now that's like, it's got these vibes that feel like that. It's the hybrid, and you just take that and you just kind of morph your own vibe into it. Ain't nothing new under the sun, brother. Some people gather influences from different places, but some people are able to mash them up real nice, kind of make a new thing out of it, make a new taste, a new flavor. And so I think that's cool. I think to just be able to take. I think in any other craft, in medicine, anything, you have to take from precedent. You have to take from something that's already been proven, something that's already been done. And then you can, medicine is not the same as it was 2 centuries ago. It's gotten better because they took the information there and they've improved on it over the years. And so music is the same way. You keep taking, man, if you listen to some of them old tapes, man, them guitars was out of tune, pianos was out of tune, singers was out of tune, and now you got Beyonce can hit 400 notes and every one of them be dead on the money, and she don't need auto-tune. She can hit it. You know what I'm saying? I know what Beyonce can do. She go get it. Some of them need some help, but that girl can sing, period. So it's like they didn't sing like that with that kind of precision back then, because just like these kids now are exponentially getting smarter, they're getting better because, they have the advantage of all the tools. They have the matrix that they can tap into now. That's what's happening. And so, of course, it's not going to sound like it did in 19. When that stuff sounds crazy, you listen to them old recordings. They just sound like you couldn't have a record deal now doing that.
Right.
That's what happened. The times change and everything kind of morphs. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah. So how can I bring value to you? Because there's a couple of things that we got on the horizon. We're going to put like a TED Talks for Brooklyn, New York. We're going to do entertainment, music, law, all kinds of stuff. I don't know if you're interested in coming to New York and being a part of that and just talking about your brand, talking about things that may be of interest to you. But I just want to extend.
I'm happy to do things like that, man. My thing is I want to do some great things musically. I want to do some great things with humans. I'm doing a project called World Symphony for Peace, where I go to different places and just work with, I would spend some time in China, like I was saying, and just like creating things that just keep people together and show that there are more things that make us alike than separate us. And so anything that's going to be about humankind and people together, just, man, I know it sounds all, kumbaya-ish and all this kind of stuff, but it's real, man. We're living in times where people... Yeah, where political vitriol is at the highest I've ever seen it. it's like with this whole political climate the way it is, man. I've never seen it since the '60s like this, man. It's like we went back in time, and so I think we need to see that there's some things that keep us all on the same page, and people can get along if we just work and try to do so, man. We can do what we want to do, and I just think we just have to have the desire to do so, and the music is a great platform for that, man. So yeah, I mean, if you guys are doing something, and if there's anything that we can do to elevate what we're talking about in terms of like connecting people through music, then yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and I'll reach out to you for that, and I just want to thank you on behalf of the podcast.
Absolutely.
I changed my life is purified. I'm a phoenix, watch me fly. I changed my life.